Well, the president is still in South Africa, where he has been holding talks with his South African counterpart, Cyril Ramaphosa, over the recent attacks on Nigerians and Nigerian businesses in the country. The president again condemned the attacks, while his host, President Ramaphosa, also apologized, promising that appropriate measures would be taken to prevent a recurrence of the attacks. Well, with us also discussing the visit and, asking the question of will there be compensation for Nigerian victims of xenophobia, the implication, also the modus operandi of fulfilling the mandates of the joint committee, the DG NACCIMA, Ambassador Yola Olukami, is still with us here, and he weighs in on this. He's also a former ambassador to Australia. So, this visit, do you see it mending fences? Because what other people are saying is that how about the people-to-people relations?
Well, thank you very much for this question and the issue which has been raised. Let me quickly also refer again back to our engagement with Mr. President, NACCIMA's engagement. We were led by our national president, Nigeria, Leo, in a project to quote-unquote, unleash the giant. And one of the areas which was presented to Mr. President was the question of adherence to law and ethics. There was also the question of proactive policy engagement between the private sector and government. If you fast forward to what exactly is happening between Nigeria and South Africa, this is a proactive policy engagement. And as a former diplomat, 35 years in the Nigerian Foreign Service, I do know that at the end of the day, this is what it comes back down to. The question of diplomatic engagement between the two sides. This is key and very important. And we should remember the #1 foreign policy person is the president, not even the foreign minister. So this is the right step in the right direction. I happen to be, my former life in the ministry, been involved in the BNC, Nigerian South African Binational Commission. Very expansive, very many areas. I think the step which has been taken are in the right direction. Of course, the question and issues of compensation is part and parcel of international engagement, underpinned also by international law. And I'm sure that a lot is going on behind the headlines. And against the background of these various agreements which are set up, and also the ministerial session which has been set up as far as this is concerned, I think definitely we'll be able to have some positive response from this. And if properly pursued, we will get compensation for those.
Now, on the issue of the commission, I heard the international minister, Nalendi Pandor, who said that the country, South Africa, has a system, and that is if you own a business, you have a business. It is the insurance that compensates for the damages and not necessarily the government. However, she did say that talks were also ongoing with regards to compensation.
There's a question of state responsibility in international law and international diplomatic engagements. When it is proved that the state is responsible, that it is the state that will have to bear the responsibility. It is left to that particular state to see how. But once it has been proved, like I said, the whole concept of state responsibility underpins this engagement. When it comes to the question of, the issue of compensation, this is the reference point. The other areas, of course, in terms of, is it the insurance that is going to pay? These are the nitty-gritty part of it. And I know there have been cases in which some of our nationals who are wrongly, either wrongly attacked or wrongly deprived of their... I was very involved in a particular case in terms of our national, within the framework of the Nigerian Joint Commission, the Nigerian authorities ended up paying millions because we were able to prove. Once we were able to prove that, I think the chances and possibility the opportunities are there.
All right, we'll see what happens in the coming days. We'd like to thank you, Ambassador Olukami, for joining us on the program.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
That's how we wrap the show at this time. Don't forget you can join the discussion on our social media platforms at Channels TV, at CTV Politics, #LunchtimePolitics. I'm Millicent Nwokam. I'll see you soon.